Girl was running and buttoning her shirt in a panic. Suddenly, she rushed out into the middle of the road to stop taxi. Then, the girl clasped her hands and begged the driver and passengers in the car to help her. Because she woke up late, she was about to miss a very important interview. Seeing the pitiful girl, the driver felt sorry for her and helped her. However, when the girl arrived and entered the interview room, she immediately felt nauseous as soon as she picked up her glass of wine. The reason was because she drank a lot of alcohol last night. But surprisingly, this girl had an extremely sensitive sense of smell and taste. So in the end, she still successfully attracted the attention of the company chairman. This rich chairman felt the image of herself when she was young in the girl. She had no idea that this girl was her biological daughter that she had lost 20 years ago. Obam walked out of the interview room with a sad expression. She thought that her performance was so bad that she definitely wouldn't pass the interview. Because she was afraid of being scolded by her adoptive mother, Obam went to work part-time. Coincidentally, she met the customer who had been in the taxi that morning. This customer's name was Maru. He was an international student at a famous university. Because Maru's parents decided to get married after 20 years of living together, he agreed to return to Korea to live with them. After Maru went into the store to get the wedding ring, he coincidentally bumped into Obam, causing the ring box to fall. Therefore, Maru immediately suspected that Obam had stolen his ring. He intended to find her to ask her clearly, but accidentally spilled wine on her face. So Obam's work was also forced to be suspended. Obam was extremely angry and turned to Maru to ask for his contact information. She asked him to compensate her for her loss. The next day, Obam went to work at the barbecue restaurant and remembered Maru's actions last night, so she angrily called him to scold him, but she accidentally dropped her phone in a basin of water. Because the phone was wet and couldn't be used, she also missed the call from Winter Group. Seeing Obam working day and night, her foster father felt both pity and guilt. He advised her to rest a bit. Obam was not moved at all after hearing this. She was even angry and said that she had always worked hard since she was young. Her foster father didn't want to see Obam suffer anymore, so he found the notice paper looking for a person that he had hidden for many years. Based on the address on it, he went to Winter Group, but when he asked Secretary On if there was a missing girl there, Secretary On became agitated and wanted to fire him. This made Obam's adoptive father somewhat suspicious of this secretary. When he was about to leave, he saw Secretary On talking to the chairman, but he had no idea that this chairman was Obam's biological mother. More than 20 years ago, only 5-year-old Obam knew that Secretary On had secretly sold the group. Secretary On was afraid that his actions would be exposed, so he abandoned her in a remote place. On the surface, he said he wanted to help the chairman find her daughter, but in reality, he was thinking of a way to block all news related to Obam. That year, the abandoned Obam was brought home by her adoptive father. He patiently raised her to adulthood. Finally, Obam received the notice of her admission. She jumped up with joy. Obam suddenly remembered that she had gotten angry with her adoptive father last night, so she prepared a delicious meal for her father, who was working at the construction site. But Obam's father and the landlady suddenly encountered an accident. At the construction site, both of them were hit by a heavy object falling from above. They were then taken to the hospital for emergency treatment. Unfortunately, the landlady passed away shortly after. On this side, Obam received the information and immediately rushed to the hospital, but she was asked to sign a consent form for surgery to save her adoptive father. The family quickly received the news and rushed to the hospital. However, the unexpected incident still happened. The doctor said that because his blood pressure was unstable, they had to temporarily stop the surgery. They told the family to be mentally prepared. When Obam's adoptive mother heard this, she angrily cursed the doctor. She thought that because they were weak, they could not save her husband. She even requested that the surgery be performed immediately. However, when she knew that Obam was the one who signed the consent form for surgery, she turned around and criticized Obam for being unlucky. In order for her father to wake up soon, Obam stayed by his side every day to take care of him. In the end, because she was so tired, Obam fell asleep on the bench. In her dream, she saw her father healthy again. He also advised her to be strong and continue living. When she woke up, Obam discovered that it was just a dream. Later, she also discovered that her father had regained consciousness. Although Obam's adoptive father really wanted to tell her that he had found the whereabouts of her biological mother, he was too badly injured to open his mouth. In the end, he left this world with regret. Obam's adoptive mother already didn't like Obam. Now that the adoptive father was gone, the mother's attitude towards Obam became even harsher. She kept blaming Obam for killing her husband. After handling everything, Obam went to Winter Group, but because Obam didn't participate in training, she was kicked out. Obam was extremely disappointed, but she couldn't change reality. She could only helplessly scream to vent all her worries to the river. However, at this moment, she suddenly discovered a man in the river. She thought that the other person was planning to do something stupid, so she quickly quickly brought him to shore. After Obam discovered that the person was Ma-Ru, she continuously slapped him in the face and even snatched the wedding ring from his hand and told him to use money to redeem the ring later. That night, Obam went to her foster mother's shop to help. Seeing a customer insulting her foster mother, Obam went to criticize the other person's actions but was scolded by her foster mother. Her foster mother told Obam not to have such an attitude towards customers. Finally, Obam spoke out her frustrations. Obam always tried her best, but no matter how hard she tried, her foster mother still didn't love her at all. Obam's foster mother already hated this child of unknown origin. Now she even vented all her resentment. Obam couldn't bear it anymore. Obam planned to pack her bags and move out, but before Obam could leave, her foster mother stopped her. It turned out that Obam's foster father had borrowed a large sum of money while he was still alive. Obam's foster mother didn't want to take the money to pay him back, so she planned to push the responsibility onto Obam. Her foster mother's attitude towards Obam became much better. Not only did her foster mother thoughtfully bring Obam fruit juice, she also proactively bought her new clothes and shoes. Obam naively thought that her foster mother had changed, not knowing that she was being taken advantage of. On this side, the chairman had always been deceived by Secretary An. She thought that he would definitely help her find her little girl. She even agreed to let Baydal date her eldest daughter. The chairman had only wanted to find her youngest daughter for so many years, so she had somewhat disregarded her eldest daughter's feelings. After knowing that the younger sister's shares were more than hers, Aran angrily ran to question her biological mother. She felt that her mother was too biased. She thought that she had devoted herself to the company, but not only did she not receive her mother's love, but now her shares were even less than her younger sister's. Aran did not expect that in order for the youngest daughter to live in a happy family after returning home, even though her father had a new family, her mother still firmly refused to divorce. Coincidentally, the chairman's husband's new girlfriend was Ma-Ru's mother. She was also the boss who passed away in a work accident with Obam's father. In order to make life a little more comfortable for her family, Ma-Ru, who had never had to do any work since she was young, now ran to the construction site to work for hire. Coincidentally, Obam also came here to deliver food. Because of working for a long time, Ma-Ru was extremely tired. After that, his consciousness gradually became blurry. Obam wanted to support Ma-Ru, who was about to faint, but he pushed her to the ground. Because of that, the two of them also had intimate contact. Because Obam had accidentally lost Ma-Ru's ring, she invited their family to stay at her adoptive mother's restaurant. However, at this time, Obam had no idea that Ma-Ru's stepfather was her biological father. On this side, the chairman sat sadly in her youngest daughter's room. She really hoped that her daughter could return soon. She thought to herself that if her daughter returned, she would definitely try her best to make up for the motherly love her daughter had lacked over the years. At the same time, Ma-Ru's stepfather thought that he couldn't help but work, so he decided to stay at Obam's adoptive mother's restaurant to work. Obam felt that she was very close to him, as if they had met somewhere before. Ma-Ru's stepfather also felt that Obam was very similar to his lost youngest daughter 20 years ago. If his daughter could grow up safely, she would probably be the same age as Obam now. The next day, Obam and Ma-Ru went to Winter Group to do cleaning work. When the two of them entered the elevator, Obam accidentally dropped her phone on the ground. The chairman was taking the elevator when he accidentally saw the drop phone. Secretary An saw this and quickly said that he would quickly find the owner of the phone. Ran was working overtime at the company when her boyfriend pulled her away to enjoy their own private world, but she accidentally mixed the wine sample and the drink in the same place. When Obam went to Aran's office to clean up, she accidentally put the wine sample in the trash bag. Aran asked her boyfriend to go back and find it, but Obam said that I had thrown it away. The two of them buried themselves in the trash to search. After one night, they finally found the wine sample. This incident also helped the two of them get to know each other. Early the next morning, Obam and Ma-Ru finished work and returned home. Obam's foster mother misunderstood that the two of them spent the night together, so not only did she give Ma-Ru a hard slap, but right when Obam was about to explain, she angrily slapped Obam again. The two of them felt extremely wrong. Only when Obam took out her night shift salary did her foster mother's anger subside. After Obam returned to her room, she discovered that the phone in her pocket had disappeared. On this side, Baydal received a phone call from his father. When he saw the phone wallpaper, he realized that the owner of the phone was Obam. He wanted to thank her for helping him find the sample bottle of wine, so he promised to introduce Obam to work at Winter Group. However, because Obam didn't have much experience, she was only assigned to do odd jobs. When a customer made things difficult for her, she could only kneel down and beg for forgiveness. That day, the chairman had just entered the door when she discovered a flower branch that had fallen on the ground. When she bent down to pick it up, the flower wreath suddenly fell on her. Obam saw this and quickly rushed over to shield the chairman. The chairman was grateful and helped Obam up. She never dreamed that Obam was the girl she had been looking for all these years. The chairman saw her image when she was young in Obam, so she often dressed up as an employee and came to talk to Obam. Aran saw the two people chatting happily and felt jealous because her mother had never treated her so gently. The chairman originally did not want to reveal information about her youngest daughter, but after her husband's persuasion, she finally agreed to post a missing daughter report. At the same time, she also took Maru and his younger brother to the villa to live with her. At that time, Aran did not want Obam to appear in front of her mother anymore, so she asked Obam to quickly quit job. Aran even promised to give Obam a large sum of money. The conversation between the two people was coincidentally heard by the chairman. The chairman was very angry at her daughter's actions, so she scolded her daughter. Aran resentfully ran to find Baydal to tell him the story, but when he knew about her actions, he also felt extremely disappointed in her. The next day, Baydal came to find Obam and said that he wanted to brew a special wine for the store, so he took her along to find a wine brewer, but the wine brewer's personality was very strange. Even though they tried their best to persuade him, he still refused to go with them. Obam didn't want to give up this opportunity, so she tried to persuade Mr. Kim. Under Obam's tireless efforts, Mr. Kim was finally moved by her. He agreed to brew wine for the store. He even named Obam as his assistant. In order to receive praise from her mother, Aran originally intended to take all the credit for herself, but Mr. Kim told the chairman directly that he had come here to help because of Obam's request. This made the chairman's impression of Obam even deeper. At the same time, Obam and Maru went to meet her adoptive father's colleague. From there, she knew that the boss who had the accident with her adoptive father at that time was Maru's mother. Even Obam's adoptive father's colleague thought that both of their relatives had died unjustly. That person also wondered why Obam and Maru became so close so quickly. Maru and Obam both couldn't hide their surprise and embarrassment. The next day, Obam met Maru again, but remembering what Obam's adoptive father's colleague said, the two were embarrassed and didn't know how to greet each other. That night, while working overtime, Obam tasted the newly brewed wine. She remembered the unpleasant things that had happened recently when she accidentally drank a little too much. Baydal saw Obam's lack of consciousness, so he took the initiative to offer to take her home, but Obam wanted to sit on the porch to wait for her to sober up. Baydal patiently sat and talked to Obam. When Obam leaned her head on Baydal's shoulder, he suddenly had strange feelings for her. The chairman was very satisfied with this new wine, but she still needed to find a professional to represent this wine line. Baydal immediately thought of teacher Kim and Obam. He hoped that the two of them could make a commercial together. After being meticulously groomed, Obam became completely different, but this also made Aran dissatisfied. Aran said that Obam intentionally dressed like this to seduce others. Seeing that her boyfriend was on Obam's side, Aran angrily left. Teacher Kim was very dissatisfied with the intention of making a commercial. He angrily demanded to stop the cooperation immediately. He didn't want the chairman to do these useless things. Instead, they should focus on researching wine brewing techniques. Only after Obam's plea did teacher Kim agree to stay. The chairman still pretended to be an employee and went to the store as usual. She patiently taught Obam wine brewing techniques. Because Obam's charm was so great, Maru immediately ran to find her to confess his love. After living together for a while before, Obam also developed feelings for Maru, so she happily agreed to this confession. At the same time, Obam also told Maru about her identity. Maru suggested that Obo go to the police station to do the procedure to enter her genetic code information. She just wanted to quickly find her biological father and mother. Seeing Obam and Maru being intimate with each other every day, Baydal began to feel uncomfortable. In fact, he also wanted to have a sweet love. But during the years Baydal was in love with Aran, she always devoted all her time to work. Even their engagement ceremony could not take place normally because his girlfriend was too busy. He had endured enough of this kind of life. Baydal bluntly asked to break up with Aran. Aran was confused after hearing this. She did not realize that she was the one who caused everything. She even wanted to try to hold on to her boyfriend. Aran remembered that Baydal had been seeing Obam a lot recently, so she thought that Obam was the reason her boyfriend wanted to break up with her. So she threatened Obam to stay away from her boyfriend. Obam just felt that Aran's words were a bit strange. At night, when Obam was working overtime at the company, she suddenly received a call from the police station. They informed her that they had found someone whose genetic code matched hers. Obam could not calm down. Secretary An promised to help the chairman find his daughter, so the information registered at police station was also his phone number. So he also received the news that they had found someone whose genetic code matched the chairman's. Secretary On was afraid that Obam would return and expose his past crimes, so the next day he called the police station and lied that Obam's relatives had given up looking for her. At the same time, Obam also went to the police station. She hurriedly asked for information related to her relatives, but was informed that the other party had given up searching. Obam left the police station disappointed. Coincidentally, Obam passed by Secretary On. Obam at this time had no idea that this cruel man had caused her and her relatives to be separated for more than 20 years. The police information brought a great shock to Obam, and she even fainted while working. Maru hurriedly took the unconscious Obam home. However, while Maru was comforting Obam, Obam's adoptive mother rushed in and accidentally caught two of them being intimate. Obam's adoptive mother was furious and wanted to teach Maru a lesson. She always thought that Obam was her husband's illegitimate daughter. Therefore, since Obam was little, she had treated Obam very harshly. But even if the foster mother doesn't like Obam, she doesn't want Obam to suffer emotional pain. On this side, when the chairman heard that Obam had fainted at the factory, she specially prepared food to visit Obam. But the chairman accidentally saw Obam being scolded by her foster mother. Only then did the chairman know that Obam was living in such a situation. She couldn't help but feel sorry for Obam. Baydal, after breaking up with his girlfriend, still wanted to see Obam. Aran witnessed everything and thought that Obam had stolen her boyfriend. When Aran found out that her boyfriend brought Obam and Maru to work at the company, she became even angrier. So, Aran deliberately gave Obam the heavy work to chase her away. But Obam didn't know about Aran's resentment towards her. She could only endure and do the work the company assigned her. That day, while Obam was transporting materials in the garage, she accidentally discovered that the man in the car on the opposite side had fainted. No matter how hard Obam knocked on the window, Secretary On showed no signs of waking up. In the emergency, Obam could only use a fire extinguisher to break the window. Only then did Obam take Secretary On to the hospital. After Secretary On woke up, he found out that the person who saved him was Obam. Secretary On kept thanking her, but he could not have imagined that this girl was the daughter of the chairman who had been abandoned by him. The next day, when Obam went to work, she met the chairman. Obam immediately recognized that the chairman was the woman who usually helped her. The chairman seemed to pamper Obam very much. This made Aran hate Obam even more. The chairman was watching the work when she accidentally saw a hairpin on the ground. She immediately recognized that it belonged to her daughter. The agitated mother thought that her daughter was right next to her, so she rushed into the product introduction filming and asked who this hairpin belonged to. Aran couldn't help but be confused about her mother's actions. She didn't understand why her always calm mother was so agitated. The chairman thought that her daughter was right next to her because this hairpin was made by her own hands for her daughter. After knowing the story, the father also thought that his youngest daughter was still alive. Because her boyfriend wanted to break up, Aran took all her anger out on Obam. Aran thought that Obam had captivated her boyfriend's heart. Secretary On overheard their conversation. Secretary On went to see her son privately. The father wanted his son to marry Aran because the chairman only had one daughter now. As long as Baydal became the chairman's son-in-law, he could easily take control of the entire company. Secretary On then went to investigate information about Obam. When he saw Obam's adoptive father's name, he immediately remembered that the other party had come to find him before. That man even showed him the hairpin that Obam had carried with her since she was little. Secretary On finally understood that Obam was the daughter of the chairman that he had abandoned years ago. In order to find out if Obam still remembered him, Secretary On suggested taking Obam to the winery when he first planned to kill someone to cover up the clues. He intended to push her down, but fortunately, Obam said that she was an orphan. She had absolutely no memory of what happened when she was little. Thanks to that, she unintentionally stopped Secretary On's crazy actions. On this side, Aran didn't want to break up with her boyfriend. She even knelt down and begged him for forgiveness. The father was heartbroken to see his proud daughter now become so lowly. He angrily went to Obam's house and criticized her that she clearly had a boyfriend, so why wouldn't she let Baydal go? The next day was the press conference for the new wine. Aran accidentally saw the hairpin in her mother's bag. Because she was upset, she threw the hairpin on the ground. Coincidentally, Obam passed by and saw it and picked it up. While they were preparing for the press conference, the ceiling light suddenly fell. Baydal rushed to save Obam, but was hit by the ceiling light. Seeing that everyone was criticizing Obam, Baydal angrily condemned everyone's actions. Obam quickly took Baydal to treat her wound. Unexpectedly, while walking, Baydal suddenly confessed to Obam. He felt very comfortable when he was with her. He hoped that she could consider it a little, but Obam only considered him a friend. She had no other feelings for him. Baydal didn't want to give up so easily, so he went to the chairman's house and asked her to agree to let him break up with Aran. After Baydal's mother found out about her son's actions, she was afraid that she would lose the chairman's family's support, so she angrily went to Obam's house to cause trouble. She declared that she wanted to teach Obam a lesson. When Obam's adoptive mother saw that Obam was being bullied, she immediately stood up to protect Obam. She thought that only she was allowed to bully Obam and no other woman was allowed. Obam's adoptive mother angrily told Baydal's mother to go home and teach her son herself. Baydal's mother angrily left. On this side, because Baydal insisted on breaking up, the engagement between the two families was also cancelled. Aran couldn't accept this result, so she knelt down in front of Obam. Aran hoped that Obam could leave her boyfriend and return the heart of the person she loved. Even though Obam explained that she and Baydal had no relationship, Aran refused to believe her. Seeing her daughter sad because of the broken engagement, the chairman began to feel sorry for her daughter. The chairman even went to find Obam and criticized that Obam was the one who ruined her daughter's love life. On this side, when Baydal returned home, he couldn't help but be criticized. While the whole family was arguing loudly, Secretary An almost revealed Obam's true identity. Aran refused to give up. She told her boyfriend that she would absolutely not give up. She would even think of a way to deal with Obam. The next day, Aran deliberately called Obam over and then asked Obam to help her deliver documents to the cafe. But Aran deliberately asked the other party to give Obam some cash. Aran even had someone secretly take a photo of this scene. At the same time, the chairman also received news that the formula for a new wine product had been leaked. Because the formula was always in Obam's possession, Obam became the first suspect. At night, after everyone had finished work, Aran secretly stuffed cash into Obam's locker, but she accidentally discovered her younger sister's hairpin in it. Coincidentally, Obam had something to do and had to return. Aran excitedly asked why the hairpin was there. When she knew that the hairpin originally belonged to Obam, Aran was extremely shocked. Aran dragged Obam out of the company to a remote suburb and asked why Obam worked at Winter Group. Then Aran pushed Obam to the ground. Aran couldn't accept that her younger biological sister was right next to her, so she returned to the office and turned Obam's desk upside down. Finally, Aran discovered a photo of Obam when she was young. Only then did Aran believe that Obam was her real younger sister. She found her sister, but Aran was not happy at all. On the contrary, she was worried that if her real younger sister returned, her mother would hand over the whole company to her younger sister. In order to prevent her younger sister from returning, Aran decided to hide this matter. Aran also blamed Obam for selling confidential company documents. No matter how Obam explained, no one would believe her. Just like that, because of revealing company secrets, Obam was fired from Winter Group. Maru did not believe that Obam was such a person. On the contrary, he suspected that Aran had harmed Obam. Therefore, he followed Aran to find evidence to prove Obam's innocence. That night, Obam felt very wronged because she was fired. She ran to the chairman's house to explain and said that she did not betray the company, but that Aran had sent her to deliver the documents. After hearing that, Aran got agitated and pushed Obam down. This also reminded Obam of the memories of fighting over things when she was a child. The grandmother angrily threw water on Obam's face and blamed her for stealing Aran's fiancé. Now Obam even wanted to reveal secrets to ruin Winter. No matter how Obam explained, everyone refused to believe her and even kicked her out of the house. The next day, Obam received news from her colleague that the person who betrayed the company was still at the company, so she rushed to the company to catch the other person. But the other person saw Obam alone, so he intended to bully her. Luckily, a handsome man appeared in time. He taught the other person a lesson for Obam, and this man was Maru's biological father. Obam refused to give up, so she decided to go find Aran again, but before she could explain, Aran left. Obam had no choice but to get in a taxi and chase after her. While driving, Aran accidentally hit a tree on the side of the road, so she quickly picked up her phone and called her mother for help. Obam ran after her and discovered that Aran was injured. Obam originally intended to call the hospital for help, but at this time the chairman and Secretary An also arrived. When the chairman asked Aran why the accident happened, she replied that Obam wanted to scare her. Aran did it because she wanted to chase Obam away. The chairman completely believed her daughter's words. She angrily slapped Obam hard. The chairman warned Obam not to appear in front of them again or she would not forgive Obam. Obam felt very wronged, but when she just got home, Baydal's mother was waiting there. Baydal's mother scolded Obam for what had happened recently. Obam was extremely tired, so she decided to pack her things and leave the place that made her miserable. After the foster mother heard that Obam had run away from home, she angrily rushed to Winter to find the chairman to settle the score. Unexpectedly, she accidentally saw the chairman's notice to find the daughter there. She immediately recognized Obam as a child. Maru also found out the truth, so he rushed over to tell her that Obam was the chairman's daughter who had been missing for many years. The chairman was shocked after hearing this. She was so agitated that she fainted on the spot. On this side, Obam had taken a bus to another place to start a new life. After waking up, the chairman excitedly ran to the foster mother's house to look for Obam, but she searched for a long time but could not find her daughter anywhere. Very quickly after that, her husband received the news and also came to the place. They also read Obam's foster father's diary when he was still alive. Content inside made Obam's foster mother almost faint from shock. Only then did she know that Obam was not her husband's illegitimate child, but a little girl he had adopted. The chairman recalled what she had done to Obam in the past, and she was heartbroken and speechless. She blamed herself for not being a good mother. Her biological daughter was clearly right next to her, but she did not recognize and even beat her own daughter. After Aaron found out, she immediately pretended not to know anything. Aaron even lied that she did not know the truth. At the same time, Obam had nowhere else to go, so she decided to run to Mr. Kim's house. She intended to stay here and knows his wine brewing skills. After knowing Obam's address, Maru immediately ran over. He told her that she was the chairman's daughter. Although Obam was very surprised to hear the news about her biological mother, when she remembered what the chairman had done to her, she did not want to accept this truth. In order to make Obam accept her quickly, the chairman asked Maru to ask Obam to go see a movie, but then he took her to a restaurant to eat delicious food. But no matter what the chairman did, Obam still had a hard time resolving the knot in her heart. So the chairman could only bring gifts to apologize to Obam's foster mother. The chairman hoped that Obam's foster mother could persuade Obam to return to her, but when she saw the pile of gifts, Obam's foster mother didn't care at all. Not only did she not touch the gifts, she also threw them back. She loudly declared that she would absolutely not let Obam return to biological mother. But that day, the landlord suddenly came to visit. Because Obam's foster mother had not signed a contract with the landlord before, the landlord deliberately made things difficult for her. The landlord wanted to kick her family out. If she didn't want to be fired, she had to deposit 100 million won. Because she didn't have 100 million won to deposit, Obam's foster mother could only go to Winner Group and hope that the chairman could give her 100 million won as a reward for raising Obam for 20 years. Obam accidentally witnessed this scene and angrily criticized her foster mother's actions. The grandmother knew that Obam's foster mother needed money, so she quietly went to her foster mother's house. She also brought all her savings to Obam's foster mother. She hoped that Obam's foster mother could let Obam return to the biological house, but Obam's foster mother flatly refused. The next day, the chairman brought cash to give to Obam's foster mother. When Obam found out, she took the money back to the chairman. The chairman apologized to Obam. The chairman said that she shouldn't have treated Obam like that before, but Obam was still worried about past, so she didn't want to talk more and just stuffed money into the chairman's hand. She said that she would never return to that house. When Obam's foster mother's family was being threatened by the landlord, Maru's biological father suddenly appeared. He spent money to buy back the whole street. In the end, Obam's foster mother's family didn't have to move anymore. On this side, Aaron kept pestering her ex-boyfriend, and this scene was coincidentally caught by Secretary An and his wife. The wife already knew that Obam was the chairman's youngest daughter, so she said that as long as her son could become the chairman's son-in-law, she wouldn't object to her son pursuing Obam. Aaron was extremely worried after hearing this. She even hated Obam even more. In order to bring Obam back to her, the chairman brought evidence proving that she had been searching for Obam for so many years to Obam's foster mother's house. Seeing that, Obam told the chairman that she only had one mother, her foster mother. Obam warned the chairman not to bother her anymore. Obam watched the chairman's back as she slowly left. Even though she felt very sad, she still had to pretend that nothing happened. When the chairman was about to be hit by a truck, Obam appeared in time to save her. Obam's foster mother was finally shaken when she saw this. After returning, she hurriedly packed her luggage and chased Obam away. Then she informed Obam's biological father and mother to come and pick up their daughter. Obam knew that her foster mother didn't really want to chase her away, so she followed the chairman home. Looking at the beautifully furnished room, Obam felt very strange. She didn't know how to stay here. After Aaron knew that her younger sister had returned, she drank to relieve her sadness. After getting drunk, Aaron began to vent all her dissatisfaction towards Maru's younger sister. Then Aaron turned to mock Obam. The next day, Obam returned to work at Winner. At noon, the father came to bring lunch to his wife and child. Seeing her parents love Obam so much, Aaron felt very uncomfortable. She absolutely would not allow the love that belonged to her to be taken away. Even if the other party was her younger biological sister, it was not allowed. In order to kick Obam out of the company, Aaron quickly thought of a very good way. While the whole family was eating, she suggested holding a party to welcome Obam. Aaron also invited all her friends and relatives to come. However, all the relatives in the family compared the two sisters. When Obam was feeling inferior, Aran deliberately went to rescue Obam. Everyone said that Aran loved her younger sister very much, but they did not know that it was all just an act. While pouring water, Aran thought about her younger sister wanting to compete with her for her mother's love, so she angrily crushed the cup. Obam felt very guilty when she saw her sister's hand covered in blood. Obam thought that her sister was injured because she was throwing a party for her. Obam thought that her sister really liked her, so she politely called Aran sister. But when no one was around, Aran said that she didn't like Obam returning to this house. Aran didn't like Obam living better than her even more. Aran's words made Obam extremely disappointed, but when Obam wanted to leave, Aran stopped her, because Aran had always acted like a good sister in front of everyone. At night, when Obam had just fallen asleep, she opened her eyes and saw Aran sitting right next to the bed. Unexpectedly, Aran turned around and apologized to Obam. Aran even personally put a couple bracelets on Obam. Aran's actions made Obam feel confused. Obam also did not know if Aran really liked her or not. The chairman wanted to admit Obam's identity in front of the company's employees, so she decided to introduce Obam at the new product announcement. Aran was very dissatisfied with her mother's actions. In a fit of anger, she smashed all the wine samples used for display. Obam discovered that the wine on display had been smashed, so she and Maru quickly went to the wine factory to get the wine. Unexpectedly, on the way back, an unexpected accident happened. The chairman found out about the incident and quickly rushed to the hospital. Only when she saw that Obam was okay did she breathe a sigh of relief. Obam's foster mother also rushed over when she heard that Obam was injured. She criticized the chairman for not taking good care of Obam. The chairman was afraid that Obam's foster mother would take Obam back, so she used 500 million won for the foster mother to transfer Obam's household registration to her house. Secretary An was commissioned by the chairman to go to Obam's foster mother's house. When Obam's foster mother found out that she wouldn't be able to see Obam for 3 years, she was angry and immediately refused. At the same time, Obam also heard that Aran had gone to the sample room, so she questioned whether Aran had intentionally broken the sample wine. Aran was upset and argued with Obam. They even went to the sample room. Aran also accidentally said that she had broken the sample wine. The chairman accidentally heard Aran's words and was extremely angry. She suggested that Obam replace Aran in charge of the development project. Aran was shocked by this decision. However, before she could finish her work, the thug she hired to secretly take pictures of her earlier came to her place. The thug threatened Aran that if she didn't give him money, he would tell the chairman the whole truth. Fortunately, Baydal appeared in time and successfully snatched the recording pen from the other party's hand. At night, Aran sat in the room listening to the recording, but was found by her father. After hearing the entire content, her father realized that Aran had harmed Obam. He angrily criticized her for being so cruel. Aran bluntly confessed her mistake and then packed her bags and left the house. Obam quickly ran after her to hold her back, but was pushed down by Aran. Taking that opportunity, Aran also expressed her feelings. She didn't know how to accept her younger sister. She told her mother that she was afraid that Obam would take away everything she had. At night, when Aran went to sleep, she dreamed that her family chased her away, so she hated Obam even more. The next day, Obam took the initiative to come and talk to Aran. She wanted to ease the relationship between the two, but no matter what Aran said, Aran remained silent. Very quickly, Obam discovered something was wrong. Baydal knew that Aran couldn't speak, so he rushed her to the hospital, but Aran was afraid that Obam would take away her position, so she refused treatment and insisted on returning to the company to continue working. Very quickly, the chairman knew about Aran's communication disorder. She blamed herself for not caring much about Aran's feelings. Grandma was also very sad. She thought that finding her granddaughter would make the family happy. She didn't expect Aran to get sick. Seeing everyone feeling guilty because she was sick, Aran also felt the concern of her family for her. The chairman wanted to make up for her shortcomings with Aran during the time she was looking for her youngest daughter, so she decided to transfer her shares to Aran. After knowing the news, Aran was very happy. However, when Aran knew that her mother wanted Obam to take over the new wine research lab, she began to feel jealous. Aran had to find an opportunity to stop her mother's decision. At this time, Aran's phone rang. Knowing that it was a call from the restaurant, Aran said that she would not sell wine to the restaurant. Obam ran over and heard Aran's voice, only to find out that Aran was able to talk. Aran hurriedly pulled Obam back and lied that she would explain the situation to her parents, and that she also hoped that Obam could keep it a secret for her. On this side, Secretary An was extremely worried. It turned out that because Obam's identity was made public, the person who bought the secret from Secretary An that year called to demand money. When Secretary An answered the phone, his son accidentally discovered it. Baydal secretly followed his father to the stairs. From then on, he accidentally accidentally knew the whole truth from his father. Baydal was extremely surprised. It turned out that his father had intentionally abandoned Obam that year. The next day, Aran knew that her mother had let Obam replace her for an interview with the TV station, so she rushed to the TV station and asked Obam to stop the recording. This made the chairman extremely surprised when she knew that Aran had been able to speak for a long time. The chairman thought that Aran was deliberately deceiving her. Therefore, she decided to take back the shares that had been previously transferred to Aran. Secretary An knew that his son had knew his secret, so he wanted to prevent his son from exposing his crime. Therefore, he knelt down in front of his son and begged to keep it a secret. Secretary An wanted to eliminate all danger, so he planned to kill someone to cover up clues. Fortunately, Baydal followed and stopped his father in time. Baydal read the other party's notes regarding Obam's disappearance, so he ran straight to the chairman's house to clarify everything. But when he thought about his father, he couldn't say anything. Aran realized that her ex-boyfriend had problems recently, so she asked him what happened. He didn't hide anything and told the truth about Obam's disappearance. Aran didn't expect Secretary An to be such a person, but in order to continue being with her ex-boyfriend, she decided to destroy all evidence. Coincidentally, Obam ran to put out the fire. The argument between the two attracted the chairman's attention. Aran saw this and quickly snatched the diary back. The father saw that the relationship between the two daughters wasn't good, so he planned to send Obam abroad to study. The next day, Obam received a call from a stranger. The other party said that he knew the truth about her getting lost that year. When Obam was about to meet that person, she accidentally ran into Secretary An. Secretary An immediately ran to the surveillance room and chased the security guard out. At this time, Obam had entered the elevator. Secretary An pressed the stop button. Obam in the elevator also realized that there was a problem. Luckily, Maru appeared in time to save her. On this side, Aran used the story of Secretary An abandoning her younger sister to threaten her ex-boyfriend. She said that if he did not marry her, she would tell the story of that year. In order to prevent his father's crime from being exposed, Baydal had no choice but to agree to this request. However, when he went to the chairman's house to propose, he was strongly opposed by the chairman. She thought that Baydal had an unclear relationship with her two daughters. If she let her daughter marry someone like him, her daughter would definitely not be happy. The chairman also intentionally stopped all of Aran's work at the company, but Aran still refused to change her mind. Aran took Obam and Baydal's mother to try on wedding dresses. After returning home, Aran warned Obam not to approach her boyfriend anymore. Even though Obam explained that she didn't like Baydal, Aran still didn't believe it. Even when she saw her father coming in, Aran pretended to fall to the ground. It turned out that Aran wanted her father to misunderstand that her younger sister was bullying her. After doing those things, Aran felt that it was still not enough. She also intentionally cut her wedding dress and then threw it in front of Obam's room. When Obam went out, she saw the torn dress and didn't understand what was going on. Unexpectedly, she was caught by her father. Even though Obam explained that she didn't cut Aran's dress, her father still thought that she was jealous of her sister, and that's why she intentionally cut the wedding dress. The next day, Aran brought Baydal home. After discovering this, the chairman was very angry, so she immediately argued with her husband. The grandmother blamed Obam. She thought that Obam not only ruined Aran's marriage, but also caused a rift between the parents. Obam felt very wrong after hearing this. Obam thought that returning to her family would bring her happiness, but instead she was treated so badly by everyone. Very quickly, the day of the new wine tasting arrived. Aran wanted everyone to be completely disappointed in Obam, so not only did she pour out all the prepared sample wine, she also changed to the old wine produced by the company before. Very quickly, when the chairman and secretary An tasted the wine, they discovered the problem. They thought that Obam was trying to act smart, so she brought the wine that had been announced for everyone to try. Obam tried to explain, but the chairman refused to listen to any explanation. She even felt that the relationship between the two was becoming more and more distant. They were like two strangers, not mother and daughter. The father felt that current family was in turmoil, so he gave Obam money and told her to go to her foster mother's house to live for a while. After experiencing all this, Obam completely lost hope in this house, so she quietly packed her luggage and left the house. Aran couldn't help but be secretly happy when she saw Obam's back as she left. The next day, the chairman found out that husband had told Obam to go to her foster mother's house. She was afraid that she would lose her daughter again, so she hurriedly ran to find her. At the same time, Obam found out that her foster mother and Maru's father were dating. They even discussed getting married. Obam didn't want to bother her foster mother anymore, so she could only pack her luggage and leave her foster mother's house. The chairman went to look for Obam, but couldn't find her. When Obam's adoptive mother heard that Obam had run away from home, she got excited and ran to the chairman's house to cause trouble. She blamed them for abandoning Obam for more than 20 years, and now that they had found her, they didn't treat Obam well. Because she couldn't find a place to go, Obam could only work at a restaurant. Because the boss was a pervert, every night she had to block the door with tape so she could sleep peacefully. Aaron quickly found out where Obam was. In order to make Obam completely disappear from her sight, Aaron took out her plane ticket and asked Obam to go abroad. Aaron also colluded with Secretary An to tell everyone that Obam had gone abroad for a vacation. The next day, Secretary An and his wife went to the chairman's house to deliver the gift. The chairman was very angry after hearing this and said that Aaron had to wait until Obam returned before she could get engaged. Aaron felt very sad after hearing this. She thought that her mother only had her younger sister in her heart. This made Aaron even more reluctant to let Obam return to this house. Because of Obam's departure, the research on the new wine had to be left to Mr. Kim. After tasting the wine brewed by Obam, he was very satisfied. He suggested that the chairman let Obam's wine be the main product of the next batch. In order to make Obam lose all her honor, Aaron deliberately added additives to the wine. When she entered, Mr. Kim coincidentally saw Aaron's sneaky appearance. During the announcement of the new wine, the shareholders discovered a strange taste in the wine, so they decided to cancel this investment. Therefore, the announcement ended in disappointment, and the company was immediately surrounded by reporters. In order to achieve her goal, Aaron even pushed the company into a difficult situation. Teacher Kim knew that Aaron had been affected by the new wine, so he warned her to quickly confess everything, or he would tell the chairman the truth. Aaron wanted to use money to bribe Teacher Kim, but he did not want to join hands with her to do something against his conscience. While the two were struggling, Teacher Kim accidentally fell into the lake. Aaron panicked and took out her phone to call the police. But then Aaron thought that as long as Teacher Kim was not saved, she would not be exposed. After returning, Aaron decided to put the blame for adding additives on Teacher Kim. Then Aaron took her mother to Teacher Kim's research room and pretended to find the bottle containing additives there. Even though Aaron had fabricated a lot of evidence, the chairman still did not believe that Teacher Kim would do such a thing. The chairman decided to wait for Teacher Kim to return to ask clearly about everything. Very quickly, Aaron and Baydal's wedding day arrived. Aaron insisted on marrying Baydal despite her mother's dissuasion. Her mother was angry and refused to attend the wedding. Although Aaron felt very sorry, she still insisted on marrying this man. Obam originally wanted to come to congratulate Aaron, but because she thought Aaron would not accept her, she turned around and left. The chairman found out that Obam was leaving and begged Baydal to stay. The chairman kept saying sorry and begging Obam to forgive her, but even so, Obam still coldly left. That day while working, Obam was accused of being a thief by a customer, so she was taken to the police station. She needed bail money before she could leave, so Obam had no choice but to call Maru. But because Maru was in a meeting, he did not have his phone with him. Secretary An walked in and heard the phone ringing, so he knew that Obam was in trouble. Secretary An went to the police station to bail her out, but when Obam was about to leave, someone accidentally bumped into her and fell to the ground. Obam saw Secretary An's back in the distance and suddenly remembered the scene of her being abandoned that day. Looking at Obam's appearance, Secretary An also realized that she might have remembered something. Secretary An took out the plane ticket and said she wanted to take Obam to study abroad, but Obam didn't want to listen to his arrangement. Secretary An was extremely angry when she was rejected. He asked her what she had remembered. Obam didn't hide anything. She said that she knew that Secretary An was the one who abandoned her that year. Secretary An was afraid that his crime would be exposed, so he thought of a way to make Obam take the initiative to leave. At night, when Obam was preparing to go to bed, a thief suddenly sneaked in. Secretary An appeared in time to save Obam. Obam was very grateful for Secretary An's help. However, this was just a play written by Secretary An. Maru was very worried when she learned about Obam's situation, so Maru went to find his biological father and hoped that his father could help her. It turned out that Maru's father was not an unemployed and idle person like everyone said. He was very rich, but lived extremely modestly. Maru's father took Obam to a villa and told her that he had bought this place to use as a wedding house with Obam's adoptive mother. He understood her dilemma and knew that she was not happy living at her biological mother's house, so he told her to move to this villa to live with everyone. At this time, unexpectedly, Teacher Kim returned alive. When Obam knew that Mr. Kim had suffered injustice because of the wine she brewed, she felt very guilty towards him, so Obam returned to Winter to find out the truth. Aaron was worried when she heard that Obam had returned. Aaron was afraid that Obam would suspect her. The next day, Secretary An's wife came to the company and accidentally heard her son and daughter-in-law talking, so she found out the person who abandoned Obam was her husband. After hearing that, she felt extremely horrified. She questioned her husband whether he had really done that or not. Faced with his wife's questioning, Secretary An could only tell the truth. That year, his father-in-law daughter-in-law was seriously ill and needed money for treatment, so he had no choice but to sell the company's secrets. Because he was afraid that Obam would expose the truth, he abandoned her. Coincidentally, Maru was also going to the rooftop at this time, and he heard everything Secretary An said. Maru wanted to tell Obam the whole truth. Secretary An's wife saw this and quickly stopped him. Taking that opportunity, she pulled Obam to the stairs and lied that Maru wanted to become the chairman's son-in-law. So Maru lied to Obam. Then, because she was too agitated, she pushed Obam to the ground. This fall suddenly reminded Obam of the scene where she was abandoned that year. Obam clearly remembered that it was Secretary An who did it. Obam quickly returned home to ask the chairman the whole truth, but Aran pretended to faint to stop Obam, because Aran thought that as long as Obam told the truth of that year, Obam would have a chance to inherit company. Aran and her husband were both thinking of ways to stop Obam from telling the truth. Even Baydal at this time no longer valued past feelings. As long as he could protect his father, he would do anything. The next day, Baydal came to find Obam and warned her not to tell the truth of that year. When Maru saw Obam being threatened, he rushed to beat Baydal. Secretary An's wife, in order to protect her husband, did everything she could to kneel down and beg Obam for forgiveness. She then took out the divorce petition from her son and daughter-in-law. She said that her son and wife were happy, but now they had to separate because of Obam. Although Obam really wanted to tell the truth, she did not want to ruin Aran's marriage. The next day, when Obam went to work, she discovered that Aran kept vomiting. Obam quickly asked Aran if she was pregnant. Aran saw that Obam was innocent, so she wanted to use the pregnancy to prevent Obam from telling the truth. At the same time, Obam's grandmother and aunt secretly sold the Winner chain of stores to someone else at a cheap price. The chairman really could not tolerate these people's behavior anymore. In a fit of anger, she kicked them out of her house. The group had nowhere else to go and could only run to Secretary An's house. Secretary An's wife suddenly had a bad idea when she saw this. She said that she wanted to replace her husband as the chairman. The next day, the chairman was being interviewed by the press. Secretary An's wife naturally wouldn't let this opportunity pass, so she said that Grandma was deliberately bad-mouthing the chairman in front of the media. Grandma naturally believed Secretary An's wife's words. Standing in front of the media, Grandma said that the chairman kicked her out of the house. Seeing this, Aran hurriedly interrupted Grandma. At this moment, Obam came over, carrying a special type of wine. Grandma took the opportunity to tell the reporters that Obam was abandoned by her biological parents. Until now, Obam still doesn't have the love of her parents. Grandma's words surprised the reporters. Winner Group immediately became the center of attention. After her son and daughter-in-law went out, Secretary An's wife said that they had to find a way to take over Winner Group. Unexpectedly, Obam overheard their conversation. Obam warned them not to do such a thing, otherwise she would not let them off. Very quickly, the media spread bad rumors about chairman. The crowd threw rotten eggs at the company's door. They even blocked the door of the chairman's private home. In order to play the role of a filial daughter, Aharon specially brought her mother to her husband's house to avoid being hunted by reporters. At the same time, she also wanted to take this opportunity to find a way to defeat chairman. Secretary An's wife secretly bribed the reporters. She allowed them to enter her house to interview the chairman. By chance, Obam and Maru overheard their conversation because the two wanted to help the chairman get out of a difficult situation. At this time, Obam took the initiative to accept the reporter's interview, and she admitted that she had caused chaos in the family. The foster mother realized that Obam wanted to help the chairman, so she agreed to let Obam return to the chairman to help her handle things. However, when Obam arrived at the chairman's house, she heard that the chairman was suffering from the grandmother's sarcasm. Obam felt very sorry when she saw that scene. In order to help the chairman cheer up, Obam called her mother for the first time. Until now, the chairman still hasn't seen the true face of Secretary An. Not only did she thank him for always helping her find her child, but she also decided to promote him to become the director of Winner. Obam couldn't help but be confused about her mother's actions. Obam rushed inside, preparing to tell the truth about Secretary An abandoning her that year. Unexpectedly, in order to stop Obam's actions, Aran lied that she was pregnant. Seeing her mother so happy for Aran, Obam didn't want to ruin the happy atmosphere, so Obam temporarily didn't expose Secretary An's true face. Aran felt guilty for deceiving her mother. Aran ran to the bar and got drunk to relieve her sadness. Her husband came to take her home. After returning home, Aran told him about her pretending to be pregnant. Coincidentally, Aran was heard by the chairman and Obam. Obam realized that she had been deceived by Aran. This time, Obam couldn't hold back anymore. Secretary An told the truth from that year. In front of everyone, Obam told the truth from that year. Everyone couldn't believe their ears after hearing it. Secretary An, who had always been loyal to the chairman, dared to do such a thing. The father didn't want his daughter and Secretary An to have anything to do with each other anymore, so he angrily forced Aran to leave her husband's house. But Aran flatly refused and said she would absolutely not leave. After knowing about what Secretary An did that year, she was also very shocked. Only then did she understand that Secretary An's insistence on helping her find her daughter was actually to prevent her and her daughter from finding each other again. The next day, Secretary An's wife ran to the company to beg the chairman for forgiveness. She hoped that the chairman could forgive her husband, but the chairman could not accept Secretary An's behavior. She asked him to resign and leave Winner Group. After listening, Secretary An immediately said that with his current ability, he would not accept leaving just because of a sentence from the chairman. On this side, Maru's father also did not hide his rich identity anymore. Not only did he buy the store to give to Obam's adoptive mother, he also took Obam to eat at a high-class restaurant. At the same time, Grandma also knew about what Secretary An had done. When she knew that Secretary An had abandoned her granddaughter, she brought her daughter and angrily stormed into Secretary An's house to scold him. Secretary An's wife was so angry that she was hospitalized. After she woke up, she only hoped that her daughter-in-law could quickly divorce her son. Only then could their family live in peace. Aran did not want to give up this difficult marriage, so she went to find Obam and asked Obam to forgive Secretary An's actions. Aran also said that what happened 20 years ago had never happened. The chairman accidentally heard Aran's words, and she could not accept what Secretary An had done. Therefore, the chairman said that she would absolutely not easily agree to this request. On the other side, Secretary An saw the chaotic scene in the house, and he did not expect that his actions 20 years ago would lead to this outcome. Therefore, he secretly made a decision. Secretary An's wife couldn't contact her husband, so she stormed into the chairman's house in a fit of rage. She even criticized the chairman for not holding her husband responsible. After hearing this, Obam didn't know what else to say to this kind of person. From the beginning until now, she was just a victim. It was Secretary An's actions that caused Obam and her parents to be separated for 20 years. On this side, Secretary An had no intention of giving up. Instead, he secretly bribed the director of another company. He wanted to rely on them to sit in the chairman's chair. Aran also refused to listen to her parents and give up on this marriage. In order to help the two families reconcile, she secretly stole her mother's seal. Then she took it to sign a contract with a company that was on the verge of bankruptcy. Very quickly, the chairman discovered that there was a problem with company's books. Winner Group once again fell into a difficult situation. Aran's actions coincided with Secretary An's intentions. Taking advantage of the chaos, he called a shareholders meeting to join forces with other shareholders to attack the chairman. He hoped that the chairman would resign and leave Winner Group. Obam, knowing about the matter, rushed to find Teacher Kim. But even though he spoke well of the chairman, he still couldn't fight against people on Secretary An's side. Obam and Maru decided to stay and find an opportunity to defeat Secretary An in order to protect Winner Group. Grandma found out that the chairman wanted to mortgage the villa to cover the company's losses, so she immediately sold all the furniture in the house to support the chairman. Aran's life wasn't much better. Even if she had to betray her family, Aran wanted to be with Baydal, but every day she was criticized by her mother-in-law. The next day, Aran saw that Obam was still at Winner Group, so she vented all her anger on her younger sister. Aran forced Obam to leave this place. While the two were arguing, Maru's father appeared in time to stop them. On this side, while Secretary Ah was confused about who the big shareholder who suddenly appeared was, Maru's father led Obam into the office. When Secretary Ah knew that Maru's father was the mysterious big shareholder, he immediately bowed and greeted. Maru's father hoped that Secretary An would take good care of Obam. After the two left, Secretary An's face showed shock. He couldn't believe that Maru's father had such great power. After returning home, Maru's father saw Obam's adoptive mother worrying about Obam, so he comforted her not to be too sad. People who do bad things will have to pay for it. He will definitely make Secretary An pay. Because all the furniture was pawned, Obam's foster mother took the chairman's family to her house. Because Obam's foster mother did not want to make the chairman feel embarrassed, she asked the chairman to stay at the store and work for her. After knowing about chairman's situation, Secretary An's wife deliberately brought her friends to humiliate the chairman. They mocked the arrogant chairman, and now she has become a janitor. Obam's foster mother could not accept Secretary An's wife's rude attitude, so she angrily chased them out of the store. On this side, in order to please her father-in-law, Aran took a product announced by another company. She lied that it was a new type of wine that she had just researched. Obam discovered Aran's plot, so she exposed Aran right in the strategy meeting. Because Secretary An was in charge of this matter, it also had a bad influence on Secretary An. Seeing that the chairman was working so hard every day, the grandmother and son decided to go out to work. They wanted to rely on their own efforts to help their family live better. After knowing about her mother's situation, Aran also felt very guilty. Aran wanted wanted to move her mother to a better place, but her mother was completely disappointed in her. The chairman refused to forgive Aran for what she had done. The next day, a reporter came to the store and said he wanted to interview the chairman. It was Secretary On's wife who called this one to come here. The chairman angrily brought Obam's adoptive mother to Secretary On's house. The chairman not only scolded Secretary On's wife, but even exposed Secretary On's crimes in front of the reporter. The chairman no longer wanted to hide it anymore. She also knew that Secretary On would not give up no matter what. Very quickly after that, the company held a hearing. Secretary On, not wanting to lose everything, put all the responsibility on Aran in order to avoid being removed from her position as department head. Aran decided to steal the wine that Obam had just researched. When Aran thought her plan had succeeded, Obam appeared in time. Obam directly exposed Aran's plot. When she knew that her plan had failed, Aran was extremely depressed. Very quickly, the day came when Winner Group announced the wine brewing competition. When she knew that Obam had registered to participate, Secretary On wanted to stop her, but couldn't find a reason. He only said that if Obam won, he would allow the chairman to return to work. But if Obam lost, she and her mother would never be able to set foot in Winner Group again. On the day of the competition, Secretary On intended to bribe the judges. He intended to help Aran become the winner. Fortunately, Maru's father discovered and stopped Secretary On's scheme in time. Secretary On could only stand in front of the crowd and announce that Obam won first place. Obam was very happy to win the award. Standing in front of the shareholders, Secretary On could only fulfill his promise that they must allow the chairman to return to work at Winner Group. Secretary On vented all his anger on Aran. In his anger, he even transferred her to a subsidiary company. Before leaving, Aran wanted to visit her mother, but she was discovered and kicked out of the house. After leaving, Aran went to the beach and remembered everything she had done. Only then did she feel regretful. In order to help her mother take back Winner Group, Aran returned to see Secretary On. She said that she was willing to do anything for him. In fact, she wanted to take the opportunity to collect evidence to defeat Secretary On. Although her grandmother and aunt said Aran was a traitor, they still allowed her to stay in the house. Everything was going well. Maru and Obam had a very romantic wedding with everyone's blessings. That day, while working, the chairman suddenly fainted. This was not the first time she had experienced this, so she hid it from everyone and went to the hospital for a checkup, but she was told that she had cancer. The chairman did not want to tell her family about this. On the contrary, she was especially worried about her family's future life. The chairman hoped that in the future, Obam's adoptive mother could continue to treat Obam like her own daughter. Seeing that the chairman had been acting strangely recently, everyone did not understand what had happened. The next day at the company's executive board meeting, Maru's father suggested that the chairman take on an important position, but he was strongly opposed by Secretary On, because Secretary On was afraid that one day the chairman would defeat him. After the meeting ended, Secretary On immediately went to find the chairman. He forced her to leave the company quickly. However, the next day when Secretary On went to the hospital, he accidentally heard that the chairman had cancer. Secretary On saw that the chairman, despite having cancer, still worked hard every day. Although he was selfish, he couldn't help but feel guilty. He hoped that while working, she would also take good care of herself, because she wanted to have more beautiful memories with his family. The chairman suggested going on a trip. The whole family took a photo together, filled with happiness. The chairman felt very satisfied. At this moment, her two smart and excellent daughters were by her side. At night, because of the pain, the chairman secretly ran to the kitchen to take medicine. Unexpectedly, Obam also went there and discovered the bottle of medicine that the chairman left on the table. The next day, Obam brought her suspicions to the pharmacy. Only then did she know that the medicine her mother was taking was an anti-cancer drug. In order to clarify what illness her mother had, Obam followed her to the hospital. After her mother left the hospital, she knew from the doctor that her mother had liver cancer. Obam could not accept this result. Obam quickly went to Aran and told Aran about her mother's condition. Her father accidentally overheard their conversation, so the three of them immediately ran home to ask the chairman directly. Obam hoped that she could tell the truth. Faced with the questioning from her relatives, the chairman finally told them about her illness. After hearing it, they could not accept the truth. That night, the whole family discussed it together. They wanted the chairman to receive treatment. The next day, they took her to the hospital, but because the chairman missed the golden time for treatment, the doctor suggested a liver transplant. After hearing this, Obam and Aran immediately competed to do the compatibility test. On this side, Secretary On accidentally found out that Aran was monitoring him. In order to get Aran out of the company, he falsely accused his daughter-in-law of stealing public funds. This forced Aran to quit her job and accept the investigation. Aran could no longer bear it and said that she had evidence of Secretary On's crime. Now she would go to the police station to expose his plot. But when she left, she received a call from the hospital. She knew that she and her mother had a very high compatibility rate. Ron originally wanted to go to the hospital immediately, but was stopped by Secretary On's people, so she accidentally got into a traffic accident. Ron immediately fell into a coma, and Secretary On saw that and did not call an ambulance, but took the opportunity to erase all evidence of his crime. When they heard that Ron had an accident and was hospitalized, the whole family rushed there. Baidal suspected that his wife's accident was related to his biological father. He wanted to hear the answer from his father's mouth. In order to cover up the crime, Secretary On firmly denied that he had harmed Ron. Baidal did not want to see his father continue to make mistakes, so he gave the car's travel diary to Obam. At the anniversary ceremony the next day, when Secretary On was confidently standing on the podium, a scene suddenly appeared on the screen of him ordering his subordinates to harm the chairman. Thanks to that, the employees realized that Secretary On was such a person. Everyone left in disappointment. Secretary On was now alone and did not know who to rely on. While he was venting his anger at the company gate, the police showed up and arrested him for embezzlement. On the other hand, Obam found out that she was pregnant, but she wasn't happy at all. Ran was in a coma and she couldn't have a liver transplant for her mother because she was pregnant. Obam felt extremely guilty. The chairman advised Obam not to be too sad. She also didn't want Obam to lose the baby to save her. Because Secretary On was arrested, no one took care of the company. Maru's father hoped that the chairman could return to the company. Although the family was worried about her illness, the chairman didn't want to see her company collapse. So despite everyone's dissuasion, she returned to the company to continue working. On the other side, Secretary On successfully escaped from prison. He saw the wanted notice posted in the newspaper, so he secretly contacted his wife to get a passport to escape abroad. Secretary On originally wanted to see Ron once before leaving. Unexpectedly, she suddenly opened her eyes. In order to find a liver source compatible with her mother, Obam went to the hospital every day to ask. Obam accidentally knew that there was a person with a suitable liver source who refused to donate. The nurse's words gave Obam more hope. She hurriedly asked for the other person's information. After recovering from her illness, Ron returned to her husband's house and packed her things to say goodbye to this house. At this time, Obam coincidentally knew that Secretary On had done a compatibility test. After hearing Obam say that there was a suitable donor, Ron guessed that the person was Secretary On. At the same time, Secretary On was sitting in the car preparing to go to the airport. He remembered what he had done before, so the guilt in his heart made him unable to hold back his tears. Secretary On was about to board the plane when he suddenly received a call from the hospital. He was shocked to know that he was the chairman's compatible organ donor. However, after examining the chairman, the doctor said that her condition had worsened. Even if she found a compatible liver source, it would be useless. After knowing about the situation, the chairman went to meet Obam's adoptive mother and expressed his sincere gratitude to her. The chairman hopes that she can take good care of Obam in the future. Secretary On now regrets what he has done. He comes to ask the chairman for forgiveness. At this moment, she has chosen to forgive and no longer holds grudges against what Secretary On has done in the past. Secretary On immediately turns himself in and accepts legal punishment. Now the chairman is living her last days very happily with the company of her family. She has left this world in peace. A few months later, Obam gave birth to a lovely son. She also did not disappoint her mother's expectations and established a distillation research lab in her mother's name. At this moment, everyone finally understands that only by cherishing the people who are by your side every day can you have no regrets in the days to come. The drama ends here. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye and see you again.